Would you like to start by reminding yourself what we read yesterday? So if we read this page up to about here, and then we can talk about what you've read, okay? So start from here.
Monty, Monty, come back here, Monty. From somewhere behind him, Lewis heard the rough scruff of autumn leaves as something bounded towards him across the park. The closer the sound came, the more the man by the pond shouted. It would be a dog, Lewis was certain of it. The quiet whir and click of his electric wheelchair always excited him. Then they'd come racing towards him, sniffing the chair's tires or running round and round in wide circles. Lewis wished he could swivel around to see what kind of dog it was, but the padded to see what kind of dog it was, but to see what kind of brace that held his head steady and pointed straight ahead made it impossible. Monty, bad dog, come here. Mum's head popped up from the fence around the little kids' playground. Lewis could see the look of the panic on her face, which meant the dog was a big one.
Okay, we're going to pause there. So we read this page, and these two. Can you tell me the main things that have happened and possibly some of the characters and the details you've read?
So, I've read that there's a boy and he's in a wheelchair.
Very good.
And that he likes dogs. And because he's in a wheelchair, because he hurt himself, he met a dog in a park, and when he always sees dogs, the dogs always sniff his tires, and he always wants to turn around to see what dog it was, but he can't because he has this thing on his head that controls it.
We talked about that, didn't we? He's got a brace at the back of his head and he can't turn around. Fantastic.
So that's to go. That thing, the brace, it's to move straight ahead, not to turn around, so he couldn't see what dog it was.
To support his head. Well done. Did we get introduced to any other characters?
Yeah. He has his sister called Annabelle, and she likes to go on the roundabout with her mum.
We guessed it was his sister, didn't we? Because there was Mum and Annabelle and Louis, and we guessed. How old did we think she was?
We thought she was 5 or 6.
Yes, and why did you make that guess?
Because she likes to be in the roundabout and her mum was holding her.
Oh, and her mum had picked her up at some points in the story or in the chapters we've read. Well done. Okay, I think we'll keep going. So if we start from the top of this page, lovely girl.
That evening, while Annabelle watched her favourite DVD, Lewis made a start on his homework, but his mind kept wandering back to the Labrador in the park. It wasn't fair that Mum wouldn't let him have a dog. It didn't have to be a big one like Monty. Even a little dog would do, as long as it was smart. Then he'd be able to train it. Have you started that homework? Asked Mum. She was sitting on the table behind him, typing on her laptop. She had eyes in the back of her head. Rabbits were useless pets, thought Lewis. So were guinea pigs. They weren't smart enough to get used to the sudden jerks and twists that his body kept making. At school, his class had a rabbit, and even a twitch of Lewis had it running off to hide in its box.
Okay, just keep going.
I mean it, Lewis warns Mum. I don't care if school holidays are only a week away. If Mrs. Smithy has set homework, you must do it.
Go.
The chime from her email inbox ended the lecture. Rel, you constantly.
Okay, try and chop it up a little bit.
You constantly.
Okay, let's try it like this.
You reluctantly.
Nearly. So the word is reluctantly. So that means that he didn't really want to do it. He did it reluctantly. Okay, good girl.
Lewis touched the maths folder on the screen of his Matrovics communicator.
Try that one again.
Communicator.
Well done. What was that word?
Communicator.
Are there any words in communicator that you recognise? Any parts of the words they sound like? Any words you know? Communicator.
I know that the parts I know the communicator was that the com and the u.
Okay, so communicator sounds quite like communicating. Do you know what communicating is?
When you're like talking.
Oh, good girl, when you're talking. Now the word before that, what does this say?
Matrovic.
Well done. And it's got a capital letter. So it's not a word I've heard before, but it's got a capital letter. So what does that tell us about the word?
It might be a name.
Yes, it's a name. So the maths folder on the screen of his Matrovics communicator. Quite complicated. We know he's in his wheelchair and he's got his head braced to make sure his head stays forward. What do you think this might be?
Maybe because he can't really speak that much.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's to help him communicate. Okay, fantastic. Let's keep going.
Then, a moment later, an outburst from Mum interrupted him. Oh, what? She wailed. I don't believe this. What? Asked Lewis. Dad just emailed. He's not going to be home in the first week of the holidays. He's got a big commission and he has to fly to visit a couple who want the portrait painted.
What's a portrait?
A picture of yourself.
Okay, it might be of somebody, our self-portrait or of ourselves. Well done.
He says he's going to chat to you online in a few minutes to explain everything.
Okay, if you make a little mistake, do go back and read that sentence again, okay?
He says he's going to chat to you online in a few minutes to explain everything.
Fantastic, well done.
Lewis turned his chair so that he was facing Mum. She looked really worried. She'd been working for months on the plans for a new mall, and she'd set aside the holidays to finish them off.
Okay, what was this word?
Aside.
Aside, well done for self-correcting there, well done, okay.
Annabelle was going to Grand's and Lewis was supposed to be flying to Dad's as he always did in the holidays.
Okay.
Annabelle was going to Grand's and Lewis was supposed to be flying to Dad's as he always did in the holidays. You can still get your work finished, said Lewis. I can look after myself, Mum. Didn't seem so sure. Maybe there's a school holiday program you can go to, she said. That would be fun.
I like the way you paused there, well done.
Lewis moved his chair back to his communicator. Sometimes when he had something really important to say, it was easier to use the screen than to waste his time trying to make the words come out of his mouth clearly. He touched his hobbies folder and started pointing at one word after another as fast as he could. When he'd finished, Mum let out a big sigh. I've told you before, Lewis, a dog is impossible. Even if you have all the holidays to train it, I just haven't got time to look after it. I can look after it, Lewis told her. And what about walks? A dog needs a good long walk every day. Lewis started to say something else, but his video chat was ringing on his computer. Hey there, buddy, said Dad in a voice that was trying to be chirpy. Caught any monkeys lately? What? Asked Lewis grumpily. Monkeys? Haven't you been watching the news? Dad said. Lewis, why can't I have a dog?
Okay, can you read that again and pause in the right places so we understand it?
Dad, said Lewis, why can't I have a dog?
Much better, well done.
That night, after Mum had helped him into bed and gone downstairs again to work on his computer, Lewis lay back on his pillows and tried to sleep. It was hopeless. All he could think about was a dog. Mum just didn't seem to understand what it would mean to him to have one. He tried to explain it to himself, but it wasn't easy. Having a dog would be like being on the back of one of the horses at the equality riding sessions.
What's this word?
Equality.
Nearly.
Well, equality.
Equality. Do you know the meaning of that word? Equality.
No.
It means when you treat everybody equally. Okay? Treating everybody equally. Keep going.
Riding sessions. He went to every month. When he was riding, all he had to do was whisper at a command and away. the horses would go round and round the field. It would glide along as smoothly as a ship over water, and way up high, covering distance without having to struggle with the controls of his wheelchair. When just with just a whisper, he had total command of the beautiful animal beneath him.
Okay, I'm going to pause you there. I'm going to ask you some questions. So what do you think the equality riding sessions are?
Horse riding.
You think it's horse riding? What makes you think that?
Because he was talking about horses.
Fantastic, okay.
Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who had one beautiful daughter. One day the king sent for the miller. When the miller stood before the king, he was rather frightened. Instead of remaining quiet, the foolish man said the first silly thing that popped into his head. My daughter can spin straw into gold, he said. Your daughter indeed clever, if she can do as you say, answered the king. Bring me to her tomorrow, and we shall see. The next day the miller took his daughter to the king's castle. The king led the girl into a room that was filled with straw. The only other thing in the room were a stool, a spindle, and some reels. Now set to work, said the king. And if by tomorrow morning you have not spun this straw into gold, you must die. At these words the king left the room and locked the door behind him. The miller's daughter sat down on the stool and gazed at all the straw. She didn't know what to do. She had no idea how to spin straw into gold. She hid her face into her hands and wept.
This word?
And wept. Wept.
Wept. Okay, what does that mean? What's she doing?
Maybe she's crying.
Yeah, well done. She is indeed. She's crying.
All at once the door flew open and in came the strangest little man she had ever seen. Good evening, Mistress Miller, said the tiny man. Why are you crying? Alas, replied the girl, I have to spin all this straw into gold, and I don't know how. But I do, said the little man. What will you give me if I spin it for you? My necklace, replied the girl. The little man took the necklace and sat down in front of the spinning wheel. Whir, 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 3 times round, and one reel was full. The little man put on another reel. Whir, 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 3 times round, and the second reel was full, and so it went on all night. By morning, all the straw was spun, and all the reels were full of gold. Whereupon the little man disappeared.
Well done. What was that word?
Disappeared.
Good girl.
The king arrived at sunrise, and again he was delighted to see all the gold. Yet still he wasn't satisfied. He led the poor girl to a third room, even larger than the other two. It too was full of straw. This time the king said to the girl, "Spin this straw into gold before morning, and you shall be my queen."
Can you make a prediction of what you think is going to happen next?
Maybe that the girl, she will spin all the straw. The man that helped the girl will spin all the straw, and then the girl will be the queen, and the man will be the king.
Okay, can you just clarify who is going to spin the straw into gold?
The little man.
The little man, the little girl. The girl can't do it herself, can she? Girl, and you think she might end up being queen.
When the girl sat alone weeping, the strange little man appeared again. "What will you give me if I spin the straw for you?" he asked. "Alas, I have nothing to give you," sobbed the poor girl. "Then promise me that if you become queen, you will give me your first child," said the little man. "I may never become queen, nor yet have a child," thought the girl. So she promised. At that, the little man spun all the straw into gold.
Okay, what has he asked for from her for spinning the straw into gold this time?
If she marries the king and she has a baby, she must give the baby to the man.
Right, very good. Well,
when the king arrived early the next morning, he was overjoyed at the sight of all the gold. He reminded himself that not only was the miller's daughter beautiful, but also that she had brought him great riches. So he kept his promise. He married the miller, his miller's daughter, and she became his queen.
Okay, can you make another prediction what you think might happen next? So you were right, they've got married. What do you think might happen next?
Maybe the girl, she might have a baby, and then the man, he'll say that they give me the baby now, but the girl won't give the baby.
Let's see.
On the third day, it was very late. The messenger returned. "I haven't been able to find any names," he said, "but as I came to a high mountain at the end of the forest, I saw a little house. In front of the house, there was a fire burning."
Whose house do you think he has found?
Maybe the little man's house. The strangest little man was hopping and jumping around the fire. Went on the messenger, and this is what he was singing: "Although today I brew and bake, tomorrow the queen owns child I'll take. This guesses she'll never win, for my name is Rumpelstiltskin."
Rumpelstiltskin. It's a very long name, isn't it?
On hearing this name, the queen clapped her hands with joy. Then the little man arrived. The queen pretended to still did know his name. Is your name Twinkle Toes? She asked. No, that isn't my name, he replied. Is it Banda?
Good.
She asked. No, that isn't my name, he replied. Does it happen to be Rumpelstiltskin? The little man was furious. A witch has told you. A witch has told you. He struck as he
This word.
he got angry.
Yeah, read this word for me.
Shrieked. Strike.
Not quite, there's no
Shrieked.
Shrieked. Well done. What's the meaning of shrieked? To shriek.
When you get so angry and you just began to shriek, and that means you'll get angry, and then you just go like, how did you know that?
Okay, so is it a loud sound? Is it like a shouting? Or is it quite quiet whisper?
It's a loud sound.
Well done. Let's keep going.
As he stamped his feet in anger, he stamped so hard that his right leg went through the floor. At that, his anger increased. He seized his leg with both hands and pulled with all his might until he was free. Then Rumpelstiltskin stomped furiously out of the room and was never heard of again. The king and queen and their child lived in happiness and peace from then on.
Okay, well done. That was really beautifully read. So could you tell me some of the main things that happened in the story? What was the first thing that happened?
The first thing that happened was there was a man, and he went to the king and he said that my daughter can spin
Such a good memory.
straw
Well done. Yeah.
and then make gold out of it. And then
Could she actually do that?
No.
No.
And then one day the girl he came and then said, and she was, and then the man said that you have to do this, and then when it's the morning, I want to see it, and if you haven't done it, then I'll kill you. And then after she was crying, and then a little man came and said, why are you crying? And she said, I can't spin this gold. And then the man said, I can do it. And the man said, what will you give me in return? And then she said, my necklace. And then
she gave him her necklace, and then the next night, what did she give him?
The next night she gave him her ring.
Her ring, and then what happened?
And then what happened? The king, he said, go, I'll take you to the third room that has loads of straw in, and you have to finish by tomorrow in the morning. And then the man came, and then the girl didn't have anything. So then the man said that if when I spin this gold, and if you become the queen, you must give me your child. So and then they made a promise, and then she said yes. And then the man the little man spun the straw, and then it turned into gold. And then the gal and the king got married, and they had in a years they they had a baby, and then the little man came, and he said, "I'll if you don't want me to give you if you don't want to give me the baby, you have to um you have you have to um uh, tell me what's my name, and if you get it correct, you don't have to you can keep your baby."
You've really focused there, haven't you? So many details.
And then she told a man, and he went on a lot to country to find every single boy's name. And then what happened was the queen said, "Is this your name?" And then all of them, he said no. And then the next day, the man went to a different country and brought all the boys' names back, but he said all of them no. And then the third day, he went to a different country and he came back, and then he said, "I couldn't find anybody's name, but there was only a house that was caught on fire." And then the girl, she went to that house, and then he was singing a song, and then he said his name in it, and that was the little man. So when the man came, he said, "Is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" And then he got so angry, and then he marched out of the room, and then she got to keep the baby.
Amazing, so detailed.